YouTube comments from a video titled, "Watch the most compelling argument against tech in schools, Sophie Winkleman." Part 4.
As Bookman 9563 wrote.
This is rubbish. Use tech smartly. Educators have the opportunity to control and curate the learning. By law, in the classroom. If students want to defy the instructions, which are cognizant of pitfalls, which does not require research BTW, educators have to do the job. Move with the tech. Use IT to your advantage. Things can become mandatory. Criteria for acceptable submissions from the students, for example. Time restricted, perhaps. Stop thinking you can control them all the time. You can grab them for at least half an hour. After this half hour, put them to work using tech. They should provide responses, and those responses must be assessed and factored into their results. This is not rocket science, hello? Wake up, teachers. The tech is magnificent. Stop being so dismissive and defeatist. Getting irritated now just thinking about what this speaker is saying. Think on your feet. Give a SHT if you wish, which means use the tools at your disposal. Make it assessment criteria. Leave the phenomenon of the destructive potential of the tech alone. It's a myth. It's apt controlling impressionable minds' exposure, be it only in the classroom. They will get it. Obviously.
As Bookman 9563 wrote.
Is it possible to reverse the tech? Interrogate that question. The only solution has to be control. As an educational authority in whichever scenario start locally, it has to become mandatory. I just retired from tertiary level education as a lecturer. The moment I spotted someone on the phone, I invited the student to continue with his conversation or whatever's outside of the space. In the corridor. He was very welcome to do so. I didn't have a problem. I felt a slight downization among classmates, but I did not give a SHT at that. It is up to the educators to activate tactile, real, face-to-face, meaningful engagement where appropriate. Thereafter, students have to deliver outcomes using the tech/internet. This was a time-restricted activity that was assessed. We only need to manage the situation given that we are mandated to deliver an educational success. As teachers, we must adapt. It's not actually a crisis in a sense because there is also the reality of meaningful engagement that students recognize, whether it happens according to their preference or not. That ISWHY educators DOTHE job. Use whatever tools available. Those learners that don't comply can learn the consequences of defying immovable constraints the hard way. Very simple stuff. Don't worry about outside the classroom. That is not what teachers should be stressed about. One chance. Make it count if you care. I don't anymore. So call me a hypocrite, I just spotted some gaps in this context, but I don't have energy to commit anymore. Hope this inspires some teachers to stop being pathetic and take charge. The students appreciate it. Actually.
A Josh Caller 8134 wrote.
The scary thing is, I'm realizing all this while watching my smartphone. It's terrifying knowing that most of us have fallen into this life of relying on electronics.
At Eric Skeptic 8245 wrote.
This gal is on the bullseye. Digital technology has become a slave master to society. How sad that we are allowing this marvelous tool to dominate us. Unless this thing is properly harnessed, mankind could become a serfdom to a slim minority of those who wisely insulate themselves from the mindless flow.
And Nat North wrote,
I totally agree with all of this, but someone has to ask why. Parents and households are stretched too thinly. I expect schools are underfunded and need to choose the cheapest possible options, nurseries too. I think parents and teachers have a lot to answer for, but their actions are probably driven by forces beyond their personal controls. Or at least, they'll feel that way. I'm bringing my daughter up screen-free for as long as I possibly can, but I have no doubts it'll be really tough when she gets to school.
At Mike Masek 4470 wrote,
I work 14-hour days and got zero time for my kid. I don't even know who she is all, so we can have a trailer to rent and food on the table that we don't even sit at anymore.
At Gawith Baza wrote,
When I learnt in school, I had to read books, therefore, using my eyes to create the answer I had, to use my hand, to hold a pen, to put it to paper. Our children of today don't have to do that because they're using modern force, diatech that does everything for them. They don't even have to think about working out the puzzles because tech does it fall. Then they don't have to physically touch the nut and bolt because technology does it for them. They don't have to physically dig a hole with a spade or fork because technology does it for them. Everything we say, I'm 60 launch ways to do things physically. Now today in our children, they don't have to move from their chairs because technology does it for them. How sad is that?
Snaffin 5049 wrote,
This is all lovely, but lots of people don't get it. Sure, you can try and improve education, get kids to read books, etc. But to what end? The workforce is changing. We are becoming absolute and turning into a financial burden on the world's economy. 99% of people will become useless eaters within the next few decades. How is reading a book gonna help?
At Gawith Baza wrote,
I passed by places where I used to play with my friends, and they look like they're untouched anymore because children of today don't play outside, don't climb trees, don't create little encampments, don't play games like hide and seek and so forth. Because where are they indoors? On the PC, we're on the phone. Just walk down the street and gauge at the people walking by, most of them gazing into their phones, not looking where they're going, more consumed by what's on their phone than what's actually in front of them. If adults can do that, what are our children doing?
The Pettit Savages wrote,
The only argument I initially understand for phones in school is that parents are fearful their kids won't be able to call for help in an emergency, such as a mass shooter incident. How sad that the only remedy protection from the violent radicalization young people often find on their screens is more screens. We are an addicted society, and we all need help.
At Tresinia Lachance wrote,
I was studying to be a teacher a few years ago, and they did nothing but try and sell us on all this technical stuff, while shaming teachers for being set in their ways if they wouldn't accept it. I dropped out.
At V. Carl 71 wrote,
Very well put. The wealthiest, who in this age are utterly unencumbered by even the faintest morality, let alone noblesse oblige, have fully acquired government in a hostile takeover. Their favored tool, the corporation, is inherently sociopathic.
At Robertus M9P wrote,
I grew up before the internet, but this is nothing new. Children have been doing this since the internet. Now those children are grow and have children doing the same, so it's already become a cycle.
Chris Millich 3530 wrote,
This was the plan by DARPA when they created this tech years ago. The Tavistock Institute is also behind this. Control children when they are young, and they will obey and comply later.
At Blow Me Quickly wrote,
I'm unclear why any compelling argument needs to be made. It's empirically evident children performed better when tech was out of the classroom. That, and the absurd and completely ridiculous notion that standards are racist.
At Bob Jones 3573 wrote,
On your side. When you see your children running around playing football or simply zooming around a playground, It brings tears to your eyes. You're witnessing innocence, sprogs with absolutely zero worries of adulthood, complete freedom. Then you see a group of children all sitting within 2 feet of each other, and none of them are socially interacting with each other, their faces buried in their screens. Brings tears to your eyes, but for very different reasons.
Perjas wrote,
Good teachers should be earning a similar income to doctors or lawyers. It's such a huge responsibility to educate the next generation of humans. An excellent opportunity to make the world a better place.
Samim Loves Jesus wrote,
Great talk, loved it. Everything this lovely lady says is true, except congratulating the Australian federal gov. Faux are bringing in the ID verifying that is coming in. It is actually a ruse to get everyone onto a digital ID. The thing is, these tech-happy parents will still be allowing their kids all-in on their PCs and phones.
Charles Beckford G5M wrote,
They don't teach us what we need to know, but what they want is to know. How to do as we are told, what jobs we are going to do, and how much it is going to cost if we want a good job and know our place.
Sigurd the Rigger 9833 wrote,
Just a shame that governments will never want this to happen. They purposely make living expensive so that both parents have to work in order to sustain families and pay more taxes, which leave the parents overwhelmed with raising children, so sticking a screen in front of them is a necessity in order to cope. Trust me, our children don't get screen time. It is effing hard and not possible if both parents have to work.
Jill Granzian 7297 wrote,
What the Australian government is doing is all about control to bring in digital ID for everyone. They are not doing the under 16 online protection to protect the children at all. That is a parent's job, and most parents do it, it's just some that don't. Do not take control away from the children and give it to the government.
Derequitson 100 wrote,
AI has no moral ideals. It is also easier to indoctrinate children without this morality to believe what the people in their high castles want. Total control and obedience. George Orwell saw this dystopian society in 1946 as a possible outcome to the future of man. We have not taken any notice. Shame on us.
Alessandro Ricci 7294 wrote,
Why are we getting so overexcited? Well, for one, I'm not excited at all by such explosive addictions to screens. And I do think many others feel just as I do. Who is overexcited is just a small batch of entrepreneurs, gold diggers, who see the whole world in terms of profits and show off. And masses of adomesticated crowds who duly follow no matter what. And this is still just the beginning.
Taharali 1531 wrote,
People like this woman are to blame. They won't blame the evil producers and evil media owners like Rupert Murdoch, who lie on an industrial scale. She doesn't mention the genocide in Gaza, the tens of thousands of children killed deliberately by evil Zionist Israel. Blame the politicians who are in Israel's pocket, the ones who introduced zero-hour contract, who made it so both parents work and still can't make ends meet. Look at the root causes. The hundreds of billions wasted on false flag terrorism wars, killing millions of poor people over lies, causing migration and immigration. Big Sophie, you Zionist stooge.
Big and Green wrote,
I once took my son out in his pram when he was around 2 years old. Like most days, he has a good time looking around and taking in the world around him, because he doesn't have a phone in front of him. And during this time, there was a kid around where we were sitting looking at his phone, and looking up at my son engaging with his surroundings, and looking at him like he's the weird one without a phone in his hand, not just once but several times. He was confused about how my kid didn't have a phone.
As Shanpara 607 wrote,
If I were to guess, the incentive would be to dumb everyone down and overstimulate, so all the tech companies can access and generate off our online footprint.
At Martha Straighton wrote,
This was what the New World Order wants. A docile, totally absorbed by our devices. A deep into the rotten content is dished up daily. I absolutely agree with you. Parents have given children over to social media. And nothing good is coming from this. Wake up, parents, now is the time to get rid of the device. Save your children.
At Jane Smith X4X wrote,
So many would prefer to have no tech, have the old flip phones maximum, and go back to the natural physical world. Natural, real, superior, history of humanity survived and thrived without it naturally, obviously.
At Ericus Epiphany 85 wrote,
We need to get rid of the iPads in school. The teachers are lazy and don't teach. They depend solely on technology. When the internet went down, the kids sat the entire day with nothing to do. The teachers are so pathetic they couldn't figure out how to teach them without the iPads. Very sad.
At Asher Q9K wrote,
It is truly sad. I'm lucky my parents didn't let me have a phone young. Not that they were big at that time, but still. I vividly remember when I was in second grade and a girl had a phone already, and we were all super jealous. I am definitely screen addicted now that I'm an adult, and I notice it all the time. I force myself to turn it off after a bit because I get headaches easily. I did, however, manage to not download TikTok, and I don't think I ever will. I don't like following trends, and I think it's stupid also. All the waste produced from them I crazy and makes me sick. Instagram Reels too, but I keep my content to memes and metal music, and after I send a few Reels to friends I get off, because it's not as fun anymore.
At Vat Pavel wrote,
I don't miss some parts of my childhood like getting your face smashed in or getting attacked by dogs or PFAS files. Being home on device will keep many of kids out of trouble.
At Arthur Gilliam NAT4F wrote,
The problem with everything she's speaking on regarding the fall of youth education and technology is that this is the intended design of AI and other big tech, which is to replace human representation.
At Kevin Dunn 7264 wrote,
Quite ironic from a right-wing position when it is the right wing who has been pro-ruthless capitalism without. Barriers beginning with Thatcher and Reagan selling our countries off to global corporations and deregulating everything so that tech companies can use all kinds of malign techniques to get people addicted, stay on their platforms and maximize profits. Then pretend you care about the kids, it's a joke. Right-wing anti-politics is the issue.
At Lily Off This Valley wrote,
I don't know who this lady is, but I hope she comes to America and speaks at the Ed Talks. I have been saying that technology should be banned for children. I am a teacher and see firsthand what these electronics have done to children. They have no imagination, social skills, or problem-solving skills. The students in school now are what were called iPad babies. The first generation given electronics at a very early age. Interesting that cell phones are banned in schools, but other electronics are still allowed for classroom use. If cell phones are banned, then so should iPads and laptops. Yes, online tests should be banned as well.
At National Death Industry wrote,
Best speech ever. Well done to Sophie Winkleman. The idolatry of everything carrying a whiff of tech, as well as pathetic, is bringing about societal decline to spectacular levels.
Peter Ozan wrote,
I loved this speech, and David Brooks telling the truth about Trump and MAGA. I suppose, in an imperfect world, it's impossible to have a moderate conservative association that doesn't contain apologists for Israeli terrorism, like Douglas Murray, climate change deniers like Bjorn Lomborg, and Kevin McCarthy, who supported the election steal lies of 2020. Sophie Winkleman and Brooks were brilliant.
At Artisan_Flies wrote,
A very compelling, well-researched, and thought-out speech. Whilst I agree with the majority of sentiment, I do feel there was a significant lack of balance. Not once did the speaker question what is actually beneficial about IT technology, for example, smartphones, computers, social media, etc. The reality is that the working world now relies heavily on IT technology, from basic email, Word, Excel, and Teams through to specialist analytical software for pattern recognition, genome sequencing, and structural mechanics. The current eldest working generation broadly struggles with these tools because they were not brought up using them and they remain unfamiliar. Consequently, many in the current 50-plus age range are slow and primitive in their understanding and application. My generation evolved with the growth of these tools and with the internet, so we are more familiar and adaptive. In order to remain skilled in their use, we need to ensure the next generations develop a healthy familiarity with IT and its applications. With the current tsunami of AI, which may turn out to be a bubble, data management and analytics will become a key core skill. As a species, we need to adapt to overcome, and that is how we evolve. Moderation is the key. Extremes of anything are never good, and a great deal of the facts presented here are based on edge cases and extremes. Everything in moderation.
At Hans Chachvan Wittenaw 2820 wrote,
Ironically, if a child, for that matter, an adult is clever and handy with a smartphone, he can teach himself any subject. English, math, science, social studies. On YouTube alone, there are countless sites for this. Books are easily accessed online. Different styles of teaching are, of course, available, as if a pupil could choose Mrs. Green's class over Mrs. Brown's class in the same grade. Is the real fear that the state would lose control of indoctrinating young, eager minds? Or that schools as we know them would be rendered obsolete? Heaven forbid!
At G0L0V0L0MKE wrote,
Fucking L0 Elshe ISC0 NVIN EAT Australia ISAB0 UTLIMITIN GM IN 0 RS ATS0 CIL MEDIAS BUT refuse D0 ASK0 FREAS0 NSP0 RN SITES errant include this IS Hershey TTIDL 0 SED main.
The Sisyphus 883 wrote,
We also used to have payphones for children to call their parents. We kind of need those back if we're going to get rid of cell phones.
At Randolph 1233 wrote,
One cannot return to traditional didactic teaching. Traditional English literature has been corrupted at every level by LGBT bias. The lady speaker is only touching one aspect of the moral decay. We will succeed if we return to God's holy Bible and learn the 10 Commandments. The narrator here should halt her talk and consider strategies for the fight back. The damage has affected the young teachers. They have been groomed on devices themselves. They know few alternatives. Young lady, give examples of good practice.
At Truth and Grace 1017 wrote,
Quite annoying when your smartphone poses as an idol, literally another god you worship. I mean, how can you deny it when your heart and identity is swallowed up by the content you draw from it, you spend on the phone, and it consumes most of your time? In fact, we need deliverance.
Paulinum 3Y wrote,
What is not taken into consideration and understanding is how the brain works. Using the brain and mind allows information to be held and stored in different parts of the brain. The actual physical part of learning is to allowing the action of reading, writing, and experience of carrying out these actions. This is important to learning. These experiences are stored in the brain for remembering. 1941, an experience. Just using a screen allows the person to just graze and not absorb the learning at a deeper level. This information is not absorbed in the brain. It is just drifting past at an inferior level.
It is not deeply learned. Our children will always need these appliances to keep reminding. They do not have the ability to use their brain to the maximum potential. We are limiting our children to not reaching their full potential.
At Mitchell Esiderio 1010 wrote,
Okay, don't include ME in your wool-gathering thoughts that serve only yourself. I am not and never will be guilty of forcing parents to work more jobs. Maybe, just maybe. The little darlings did nothing, so when they graduate they leech on their enablers. Just a thought.
At Floor Tank 1 wrote,
Let's not get it twisted. All of this is happening for a reason. BlackRock, Vanguard, Amazon, Silicon Valley, all of them want you dumb. That, and complacent so they can line their wallets with your blood, sweat, and broken dreams. They're not targeting you. They're targeting your children.
At Gray 80002 wrote,
What she fails to understand is that the diversity of humans has exploded due to technology and social networks. Starting with radio, television, and then BAM, International Internet, where nearly everyone has 24-hour access to literally everything worldwide. Growing up in Rawlins, Wyoming was dismal. All the books were 20 to 50 years old. It was impossible to learn about modern technology. Nobody can stop technology from advancing. The best we can do is to allow and shape the knowledge from the internet.
As Sonia Morton CM4GD wrote,
I tried to embrace this mantra in my classroom before I was made to feel outdated and archaic before I chose to resign from a profession I loved. Saw it coming miles away. Shame on me. Shame on humanity.
Christy K121 wrote,
One of the most important byproduct of school, especially for children experiencing difficulties at home due to parental MH, addiction or abuse, is a teacher who sees them, who makes it their goal to ensure this child has a connection to another responsible adult. This can be the difference to sink or swim for many children. If school becomes screen-based, teachers won't even need to be qualified. Anyone can herd children in classrooms. We are sleepwalking into the most dystopian future ever dreamed up by a science fiction writer. The other byproduct of all this, the disconnection of children from their parents, that is already happening, and children disconnected from family are targeted by unscrupulous and abusive adults.
At Aneta Fertitta 6868 wrote,
Wholeheartedly agree children often have to complete 45 minutes of computer time for math and language arts. Each instead of 15 to 20 minutes each as it started, they'd be better off with the teachers teaching.
At Herfin Sternus wrote,
Press pause. Don't be silly. That will give us time to think about what we're doing. We can't have that /sarcasm. It must be 25 years ago when all of this started to become widespread, the digitalization of our lives. I was in my final years of high school and didn't understand it then and have never understood it since. Because it was perfectly obvious this is where it would lead to. If a 16-year-old could see that, why not the people who should have? Edit. Excellent speech. I'm excited this ball finally got rolling.
Faith Z602Y wrote,
Great. When my son was at school, I banned him from computers. Then he went to school, only to come home saying he needs computer to do homework on. This was insane to me, being old school.
At the Tom Valiant wrote,
This is another reason not to ban books from the school curriculum. In classes that teach reading and literature, there would be less material available for required reading, plus the fact that students probably won't voluntarily seek out said materials online or seek out the actual reading material. Having a phone or any other device on hand discourages any effort on the user's part as long as there's a browsing or streaming service available.
The device itself imposes its own limits because you can only do what it will let you do. We know this because a device might crash or the internet is slow and we have to wait for it to load up. When you have access to actual reading material, art or music, you can use it whenever you're ready.
At Band 4486 wrote,
Law with the Fook was the point of that story in the opening? Does she think you should just flirt with the person next to you on the bus?
Tinman I9L wrote,
I forgot to say this is not just about the tech, this is about THEFUCKIN shit. They have been PEDALLINGON here, ANDTH, evilloons that JH. AVE been PEDALLINGIT. THE firm, YO, ITS falling, GET ready, FORITITS coming.
Tinman I9L wrote,
There's a good possibility LCD would be safer, but I am not an expert on that. I think QLED is the problem. You would have to do tests on LCD to see if any radiation, but definitely 5G HZ wireless is as much a problem as 5G. It's the frequency that is dangerous. So mobiles and the radiation they produce need shutting down.
Tinman I9L wrote,
You need to be looking into LED QLED as well, that technology linked with the chemicals in your drinks and your food aspartame in your drinks. It's messing with your children's cognitive. The way colors are even presented to you is messing with your head. Look for layered graphics and what's that behind it. Outlawed practices that were banned in the 60s, a flash on the screen which had an image saying by me. That's why adults cannot stop shopping, literally addicted. Well, they are. Their head is being manipulated. It's as simple as that. Have you looked at the increase in internet sales as a whole year on year? You take a look, I think you will see revenue has absolutely rocketed.
Tinman I9L wrote,
Mobile phones are microwaves. It's not just the screens. It's the signal as well, and the wireless 5G and 5GHZ wireless dangerous items kicking off radiation. Please don't let them think it's only the screens. Sound waves are microwaves. Why do you think you are having problems with your vision? You are being cooked, you silly people. Bravo, but you're not going to get rid of them, are you though? It needs shutting down. M&D microwaves.
Tinman I9L wrote,
It's a controlled effort to dehumanize people, to make people live in a virtual world. The question is, why don't you all shut the divisive nonsense down? Why don't you shut down MK Ultra? It would help.
At Psychocystogen 10Z wrote,
I agree with everything here, but one point where she mentions Australia leading the way with a digital online ID, which is a terrible idea. Look at the hacks happening. Look what happened in the UK when Discord was hacked and several 100,000 UK IDs were stolen, so please don't fall from one evil into another. Change needs to come from the education system and parents and not from forced online ID. Other than that, keep up the awesome work.
Ekenoan 238 wrote,
Everything tis lady says is true. However, the powers that be want compliant surfs and screen time, and what is on the screen is the way to make them compliant. Dumb down the population so they do not think.
At Usupersurfers on Santa Monica 1616 wrote,
In a conversation I had with two members of Reagan/Bush's moral majority, told me directly, we are going to dumb down America, so it becomes a video-consuming society. Formerly working with troubled teenagers years before and working in 3 video product jobs, they completely succeeded by the time they were out of office in 1992. This video on educating children is absolutely true. I looked for flaws. It must be passed on to parents and students alike. A local topic of conversation recently how handwriting and learning at a higher level has been recognized for a better education, and kids today learn how to type instead.
At Canada 59 Worldwide 31 wrote.
Martha Gill's warning about the digital destruction of childhood is heartfelt but familiar. Every generation fears the tools of the next, novels, radio, television, video games, all once accused of hollowing out attention and morality. The pattern repeats: early disruption, moral panic, gradual adaptation. Jill is right that social media and classroom tech have unsettled childhood and attention, but the conclusion she draws, that we must retreat to paper and pen, mistakes transition for decline. Children are not passive victims of technology. They are its first fluent interpreters. The challenge is not to eliminate screens, but to teach discernment within them, to form habits of attention, empathy, and restraint suited to this new medium. We don't need a return to an analog past. We need a digital education in character. Society has always learned to civilize its inventions, and will again.
At Carrie Knight 3043 wrote.
Such an important speech. This is exactly what we need right now. We can't let this be our future. Digital was interesting and fun at first, but it can be so harmful if not used correctly. We need a balance between both if you want to stay sane and keep our humanity alive.
At Randomfish 18 wrote.
Brilliant Maskey. I work with autistic kids as a play therapist, and I see these kids often asking for iPads and TVs. Sometimes they throw huge tantrums when they are told no or not yet. When I do give them a video to watch, some will rewind the same 5 seconds over and over and over again. It's melting their brains in real time. I am not against screen time entirely, but I also want my clients and my own future children to know and enjoy activities away from electronics. Admittedly, I must get in the groove of it myself.
At Messiac 21 wrote.
The problem is the people who build the technology are typically people who have a lack of empathy and very little insight into the human condition. They have no incentive at all in helping us educate our kids that way. They wouldn't even understand where to start. Mostly, we just need better regulations and less money-driven side avenues for them to get around them. They're people who know how to optimize anything without much human consideration unless it's a rule they can't get around.
As Septela Sairadu wrote.
A bit superficial and overgeneralized, I showed a video comparing the size of planets and stars to a Year 9 class. The kids were mind blown. We then spent 30 minutes talking about it, with students who were till that point not interested in the lesson. I would not have been able to draw that on a board to scale, nor use words to describe it. Imagination is limited by what kids have already seen, and by their vocabulary. I don't think banning phones is a solution either. It just makes pupils interact with social media in secret out of adult supervision. I think we're not doing a good enough job of teaching pupils the dangers and consequences of mass media and over-reliance on tech. Banning things is usually the solution of people who find a problem too difficult complex for them to deal with it, but I don't believe it's the right approach. I guess this is one of the effects of promoting competition and individuality over cooperation and community. There's much more to talk about on this issue, but we must use critical thinking and not just agree with people because they articulate some ideas well.
At Patricia Fix 6626 wrote.
She is well-meaning and correct, but she doesn't address the violent behavior in classrooms. Most children could care less about being educated, and the teachers are blamed for this. Administrators don't back up the teachers. YouTube, teacher therapy.
At RP011051 wrote.
What isn't out is refact that current ed does not teach critical creative thinking nor EQ skills. Just using AI tech with same old paradigm will make it worse.
At OIS 12345 wrote,
We lie not do this. Global tech and its financial elite owners did this. They know people are weak, afraid to challenge norms. Big tobacco knew to get them hooked young. The dopamine hit is addictive. Big tech know thus. We knighted to thigh, but we are complicate when we lack the courage to be different, whether it be from friends, family, society in general.
At Mark Mays 194 wrote,
The most powerful learning tool inside of the classroom is the teacher. This, madam, is true on all accounts. P.S. This woman is the solution to human evolution.
Gugux wrote,
I'm not a parent, and I see all the problems she described in my nieces and nephews. I wish my sister would take the screens away from her kids, but they're her kids, and it's her problem if she doesn't want to listen to reason.
At James Bamber 2911 wrote,
Perhaps it's time for a global education system if we can get back to the EU. Handwriting is something I missed in school, and since the US is on fire, they should join us if they wanted some worldly education for a change.
Craig Longhurst Fishon wrote,
Our government wanted to brainwash our children to not think and/or not to be educated because they do not want the next generation of adults to think. The govs want more control and want hate embedded in their brains and be ready for war. The govs are breeding soldiers, not humans.
Steve Eyes 33 wrote,
Many of us have already noticed this. I personally noticed this when I went out for a meal at a restaurant with my mother, and there was a big table of people to my left, and whilst I was eating my food and engaging conversation with my mom, I looked over to the table on my left, and they all had their heads in their phone. I thought that was the whole idea of having a meal out together. It's to engage in face-to-face conversation. I've heard horror stories about children going completely nuts after their parents take away their tablet or iPhone. This has got to be stopped or corrected.
At Mikey Elodie 1568 wrote,
All of our ills in society are a derivative of boomer greed. Those pigs cannot die fast enough. Those greed machines will give an awareness speech like this, then turn around and profit from it. The boomers should sell all of their tech stocks right now for the sake of their grandkids. But those greedy pigs won't do it.
At Big Dog 2084 wrote,
The bigger issue is young girls getting on social media and showing tight clothing on, what they got to everyone in the world, including the nasty rich dudes. This is ridiculous and you all know it. Don't act dumb and think it's oh lie little children. 18 to 25-year-old got to learn morals and values. Not nasty pictures.
Isaacs Vanden wrote,
We regular get compliments from strangers for bringing activity bags for our kids' Play-Doh, coloring books, etc., at restaurants instead of just putting a device in their hands. I thought our school district was pretty good until my older one hit 3rd grade, and it's disturbing how much of the homework has to be on a laptop now. I think a huge problem is any time you start allowing the teachers' union to phone it in and let tech do half their job for them, you are never going to get that Pandora back in the box. The number of days off they get now, post-COVID, is insane, like a week for Thanksgiving. That used to be 2 days. There isn't a single month of the year they work every weekday now. Probably averages out to 3 weeks a month, 2-3 of the year, and we get a ton of messages from the school almost every day. Them getting photos taken, updates on dojo points, they are earning that mean nothing. Every little thing needs multiple announcements. If they are off someday, I already have marked on the calendar I am still going to get at least a couple emails, a voicemail, and a text message reminding me the day before. I start wondering when they are actually teaching the kids instead of notifying me of something every 20 minutes. How about we get the teachers off the devices first? Then they can lead by example. People, it's impossible to get the kids off the devices when every adult, especially the women, around them is constantly addicted to the same things.
At Melissa H. DeLeon 2024 wrote,
Kids who have screen before age 5 can't bring a 2D world into a 3D world. So they get frustrated, anxious, lack of communication, no social skills, and can't sit still.
At Melissa H. DeLeon 2024 wrote,
My children weren't allowed to have any form of screen for the first 5 years of their lives. Today their imagination runs wild, and those who were raised on screens look at my kids as weird. My kids love to read and write.
At Well-Tuned Musician wrote,
Between one teacher having to handle 30 children, among which 6 have serious learning difficulties, and one AI for each pupil that can be tailored to their progression, I choose the latter, sorry. And by the way, you can have AI assistants that don't involve screens. Take small robots, for example, the likes of Bumi, which is just coming out of China.
At Vidal84 wrote,
It's funny it's mentioned about the pyramids. I can remember doing a little project when I was maybe 13 and how much I enjoyed going through endless books to get different facts and another million books that I could cut pictures out of to illustrate certain things. It took me back to my school days.
At Julia Spin wrote,
What's incredibly important, even as adults, to realize is you don't need a device constantly. Put it in your bag instead of pockets. Use it a limited amount of time. Turn off notifications. Delete nonsense apps, also no games on work devices. And don't use it to pass time just because. If you really hate it, you can even put it in the closet and check it 1 to 3 times a day. But what for really? If you really don't want to, put your important apps like email and TXT service on the normal computer. Check that once a day and done. It seems most people have FOMO and use devices as quick fix solution for everything. And screen time has become mental chain smoking. You don't have to do anything. Not even in these times. Be honest, is that an excuse? Also same as smoking and drinking and how you talk, etc. If you do it in a certain way, chances are really high your kids pick those habits up as well. 'Cause that's what they see their role models do. And yes, they look up to you. Even if they act tough.
At Julia Spin wrote,
We let them use laptops in class. But I try to use not as much screen time when explaining back to Blackboard plus stories and questions. Also, screen time during break is not allowed, so they actually play and interact.
At Zero Number 4 wrote,
I attended a dinner about 10 years ago at a nice seafood restaurant on the water near Washington, D.C. My wife and I were there to celebrate our friend's birthday, along with a dozen or so others. At one point, I looked down the long table to observe that everyone, with the exception of my wife and I, was on their phones. There was no murmur of conversation, no discussion or laughter between people, though occasionally there was laughter in reaction to their individual screens, just a dead, lifeless table full of people awaiting their meals. I remarked to my wife that we should not let this happen to us, and we've done so fairly well in the years since. We have a loose rule of no screen time at the table in our household, and we will politely excuse ourselves from the table if we absolutely must use our phones for work or emergency. Bonding over a meal with human beings is far more important than the vast majority of things blasted at us through digital means. The information age has connected in ways scarcely thought possible only 100 years ago, but it is driving wedges between the humans it is supposed to be serving.
At GLM 750 wrote,
An excellent speech, though it does surprise me how many commenters credulously believe that she's delivering it without notes or teleprompt. No one is that articulate when speaking ad lib. You can clearly see the teleprompter in the wide shots, for example, at 757. Though she's obviously a practiced and natural user of the technology, I guess not all reading tech is bad then. Her arguments are cogent, but rather overstate the case. Appropriate use of technology has value in delivering education, just as it does in any other aspect of life. I was an information manager in the financial services industry around the turn of the millennium. Whenever a promoter sent us a bulky hard copy prospectus, I would immediately email them to ask for the searchable PDF version, invaluable for quickly locating crucial details buried in the small print. This was before the days of large electronic documents being published online, and I often encountered resistance and pushback. But ultimately, they couldn't stop the tidal wave of e-progress.
At Amanin 1 wrote,
The message of this video has clearly resonated with many, myself included, so thank you for sharing an idea worth sharing. I just ordered your book, The Best of Our Inheritance, and look forward to replacing some of my evening screen time to read it.
Equali 562 wrote,
Not sure if it's true, but seeing PPL saying she supports transgender ideology and goes against everything preached here. Social media brainwashing people, including minors, to be envious of the concept of the opposite gender. Men invading women's spaces and abusing girls and women. All of this is thanks to social media and PRN graphy.
At user Q992 wrote,
The minute we bring innocent children into this hellhole of a miserable world, we have done the worst thing to them. Even killing them is better than bringing them into this horrible life.
At the Cataclysmatician wrote,
Gen Zs literally have zero logical thought processes. They are getting dumber by the day, and we still have Gen Alphas. Are we moving into full idiocracy? My God, I have never seen such stupid people in my life.
At Alpha Lone Wolf wrote,
Thank you sharing and indeed highlighting it. I'm working on impact of social media impact on students' behavior and academics, and trust me, it's absolutely true. We are looking at zombies and ashamed what this tech's negative side has affected.
At MH8704 wrote,
Walking my dog on my neighborhood trail with beautiful mountain views, and I see young moms and dads pushing the baby buggy with nose glued to phone. They never look up to see the gorgeous sky or hear the birds.
A Stanlover _ wrote,
The Amish children and Jehovah Witness children thrive in this sad tech system. They live healthy spiritual lives, the Bible states. Happy is the person conscious of their spiritual need. Matthew 5:3. Amen to that.
Adonna Schaefer TG6HW wrote,
Right? We don't have more money for teachers and supplies in our overfull classrooms, but we have billions to pay AI developers to produce delusional computers to take their place. Repeat for law enforcement, etc.
At Ryu Hizumura 8995 wrote,
We can blame screens, but the problem runs deeper. Parenting, discipline, morals, all removed by progression. I had an NES in my hand since 4 years old. I'm creative, focused with intent, hardworking, have a high IQ, and can improve anything once I understand it. Parenting needs our focus. Parenting is the foundation. Screens are floor 5 and AI is floor 8. Fix the foundation first.
At Goodbarbany 5477 wrote,
Bravo, Mom. Bravo. Your speech has brought back many memories of my experiences with teachers, storytelling, poetry, telling of jokes. Computers don't do that. Don't forget, all computers have to be programmed and are only as good as the programmer. Unfortunately, our children and grown-ups have also become programmed, not being able to think out of the box. Very sad indeed.
At Goodbarbany 5477 wrote,
Unfortunately, man is schooled in seeking and searching to become faster, fitter, higher to become the best. But unfortunately, the best is never better. If you are trained in the future to become a racehorse, only at the end of the day to end up as a Carthorse, what's the point? A total wasted effort.
At Goodbarbany 5477 wrote,
Right from TVs, cell phones, etc., are a real hindrance to people's spatial learning abilities, especially for children. There are some good programs on the internet which are really far and few between. As far as TV is concerned, it's the most unadulterated trash ever invented. Children learn nothing from them, and end up being addicted to these devices, which unknowingly become a psychic bug to people in general, a disturbance to the human mind and soul.
At Goodbarbany 5477 wrote,
In 1960s, my biology teacher one day came into the classroom looking a little puzzled. He sat down and said to us that in the foreseeable future man will be born round like a beach ball, with no legs, just one arm and fingers and one eye in the center of his forehead, just pushing buttons. We all laughed and thought he was crazy. But the fact of the matter was, as I discovered this to be just about true in 2003/4. I just so happened to visit a business. I pushed the buzzer and the door swung open. There was only one young lass in the office sitting in an office chair. When the doorbell rang, she would scoot off while in her chair to the front door to let somebody in. As the phone rang, she would scoot off to the left and answer one phone, and then as the other phone rang, she would scoot off to the right. When a fax came through, she would, while still in her chair, she would scoot off to her desk to check the faxes coming in. This really amazed me and amused me, as I wondered whether she would be scooting off to the loo in the same fashion.
At Silas Bancroft 2264 wrote,
It never fails. Each new generation of parents thinks now they've really gone too far. These were the same concerns as my parents in the 80s with MTV and video games, and their parents in the 50s with TV or radio, I'm sure. The situation may be unique, but the notion that our children should grow up more like we did is both true to an extent, and also the case for every generation that lived during or post-industrialization.
A Spatial School wrote,
I did not want to like this video, but you make a series of great points. I would encourage you to consider what ways screen time could be made good.